All right, we're back again. Start the night shift. Let me hear my tune or whatever while we get everything going. Okay, let's see. All right, we're about to get started in a second. Let me just get myself together. Just want to run through some things real quick. All right, we're gonna look into this imagination and finish talking about what we was talking about earlier today. You know, let me put this up. Hmm. All right, peace and blessings. We last off was talking about vampires, and tonight I want to discuss real quick imagination. What our imagination got to do with the astral world, how it hinders us from our ascension, and how could we prevent ourselves from getting caught up in our own imagination. And you know, one of the greatest authors to talk to you about imagination that I came across when I was going through my awakening was this guy named Paracelsus, who not just was great at telling about the astral world, the other parallel world. You know, that was the information that I seeked out, just about the parallel world, because the events I was encountering was kind of unique, and it rendered only information that was up to parallel for me to make any understanding. So the first two I came across with that gave up any information of that sort was this guy named Athanasius Ketcher, and then came Paracelsus. So with him, he gave me a greater understanding of imagination because I was going through a lot of astral experiences. I mean, thought forms took over my life. So through him, I was able to make a lot of understanding. All right, so we're going to take it from there. Let me find this that I want to quote from real quick so we can understand how imagination works. You know, it's also thought forms too. But wrong imagination could will you to wrong things. Okay, let me see if I have it here. I don't. Before we get started, I want to get to this right here. I was going to read before. It's called The True Adventures of a Psychic Spy. Now, this is important to understand with the psychic spy, right? Because I don't know if everybody understand how we're being hijacked and how things is happening to us in the astral. Well, just give a greater understanding so that you will understand what takes place. All right. This is just a little clip from that spy, The True Adventures of a Psychic Spy. All right, I wanted you to hear this part. He says, in a top secret hidden location on a U.S. Army base, men and women work for the CIA preparing to fall into the fourth dimension. It's an all gray room, walls, carpet, furniture, everything. Barcade music plays while the recline, relaxing, preparing to enter an altered state of consciousness. What you're about to do is access the time-space continuum in a technique known as remote viewing. When the brain registers the tetrawave state of the monitoring equipment, they are ready to jump into the ether, or in the words of David Morehouse, author of Psychic Warrior, inside the CIA Stargate program. Science fiction? Not at all. This is an advanced technology pioneered by esteemed scientists, laser physicists like Dr. Russell Targ and Dr. Hall Kaufman and Stanford Research Institute in the 1970s. So from reading just the Adventures of the Psychic Spy, which is written by David Morehouse, you learn that the government already had perpetrated us in the psychic world in our minds, and is actually in there trying to invade it and learn about this place. And they call it the time-space continuum. So just to give you a little example how the government know about all this stuff and their interactions with us with it, he goes on to say in mapping the time-space continuum, excuse me, the ability to access heaven, worlds, and other dimensions has been the gift of David Morehouse's life. Likewise, it has been his bane or curse. Why? Because he also has the ability to access what could actually be called hell, another world containing the most sordid episodes in the history of mankind. For example, as a training exercise, Morehouse was sent back to Dachau death camp of Nazi Germany in the 1940s, imaging what that was like. Morehouse had to live with the vivid memories and sense impressions of his experience for months thereafter. All right, so with this now, you get to see that through the government, you do see the underworld. That is the crazy creatures or whatever you get to see. But not just those, you get to see that they're actually doing a lot of experiments, and these experiments that is being conducted was actually part of a earlier program where Telsa invented this technology that gave them the ability to do these things. So I just wanted you to understand how that goes a little bit. And let me take you now into, like I said, I want you to know about Paracelsus, and we're going to discuss imagination real quick. So you get to understand how magicians work, any type of trick work that actually uses real mind power. Now, on the way, we're going to also discuss the Devis, so you can understand what the devils is, the demons is, and how are they in your subconscious mind. Because once you understand it, then you understand how the Goatee of Solomon work, how to pull up spirits and use them in any type of way that you need to, advance yourself, I don't know about the negative side of all of this stuff because I do see everything from one perspective, which is through God. So even if you want to take that aspect of it, it's only going to bring you back 360 degrees. All right, so I'm on the book now. Let me just pull up imagination, just to give you some of the serious effects of what imagination does, and then I could take it into my own without y'all believing that it's superstitious or making it up, because it's kind of far-fetched what happens with your imagination and magic, and what your will can do and what we do with it. All right, so let me just tune to this page real quick and we could get it going. 1 second. All right. All right, we're gonna start off now. We're gonna go into what would make all this stuff happen. We got different spirits in nature. We got nature spirits. Everybody say the four elements: earth, air, water, fire. That's what you're composed of. Well, not only are you just composed of them, you also have them as part of your family, your hereditary, your genetics. So in them, like I told you, an atom has, E1, E2, E3, E4 being ethereal. Is ethereal beings in each one of them, which is earth, air, fire, water. And so these elemental spirits is what we used to call the elementals. So I'm going to give you a quick description of what the elemental spirits are from another perspective so you get to learn them. And okay, it says they live in the four elements: the nymphs in the elements of water, the sylphs in the air, and the pygmies in the earth, and the salamanders in the fire. So you see, our ancestors that you call pygmies is part of the elementals. They're part of the elemental spirits, the ones that is the body that human beings wind up taking on later on. So, when you hear these, don't think that when we just look at pygmies, undines, the slips, the genomes, These is actually still in our genetics today. That's a part of us. And so we have to know. So it says each species move only in the element to which they belong, and neither of them can go out of their appropriate element. So if you're a earth being, you only could work in the earth being realm. But what they mean more, there is elements such as beings that's 100% carbon, 100% hydrogen, and their world is of hydrogen. The buildings, everything is made of out that one element, and so they live in one element worlds. So you also exist in one element worlds too. That's your say when you're in the rainbow, you see with the white light is just not the true light. You know, if you had a prism to break it, you will see this is the electromagnetic spectrum, and you're in a rainbow. So in that rainbow, you assume lives in different shades or different colors. These is different magnetic fields. So being that you're a composite being and you're made up of earth, air, fire, water, all these elementals is what's actually holding you down, stopping you, holding your intelligence, all the stuff that make up your organs. These is all pressuring on you. Now, with these pressuring on you, we coming into what we call matter. Matter is important because matter is controlled by the stars. You see, and this is where we get into desires. Desires is the same thing as saying aster. It's another word for it. And so when we chase our desires, we're not chasing our desires because we desire to. We're under the influence of the stars, the aster. That's the desire in it. You understand? So we are star beings in the sense that you look at the horoscope and they tell you if you're Aries today, you're going to be this and your life is going to be that because of the influence of each star on you and your unconscious. So you're going to act out what the predicted star emotional state is going to be for that time. Now, if you notice the stars or the zodiacs, the 12 of them is animals. And so when you base your life on the zodiac, you're basing your life on the lower animal you, not the higher self that's unpredictable. You see, that's what the thing they don't teach you about the zodiac. It's only the zodiac only governs to your lower animal self, and you're gonna act out that nature. So when we talking about matter, interacting with matter and Aster, you know, the stars, that's what your soul caught in matter that's influenced by the stars. All matter is influenced and controlled by the constellations and the archangels, the archons. And so, being that your body is made out of stardust or is part of the stars, it's its own entity, it's its own being. And you're the consciousness in it, and you see yourself always in cycles of repetitive habitual patterns because of the stars' influence on you. So we are on a 365-day cycle, a 24-hour clock cycle, a 30-day cycle. Everything is a cycle because of matter and the stars. But you're not a star, and you're not only going through it in the sense of you're going to be repeating it over. It's only until you become conscious of what I'm telling you, then you take yourself out of that physical form and you put yourself in a higher form. Once you're able to do that, then the star, or what we call aster and the matter, that's where you get master from. The word M is from matter, and aster means star. So to master matter is to become a master. And so that's where you get the term master from. It's really star and matter, but to overcome it. So how do an individual overcome the stars or the energies of the stars, his desires, his impulsiveness? Well, all of this is carried out in your natal chart. You know, it depends how you came here and what planet or what influences you have over you in your zodiac chart, what house you're in. All of those things have a particular effect on you as what angelic being you are, what star being you are. You know, for you to fully grasp this concept, right? You came down here as a force, as a being, as a god, as a demon, as all of these characteristics that you have to give back. Put it like this: you're wanting to be healthy, you want to work out, is a form of insecurity. Everything you do is a form of insecurity that has to be returned to the star beings, and you stand on your own. Hello, Jackie Brown, how you doing? Peace and blessings to you, love. Thanks for checking me out. God bless you. So, these all really is the real biggest influence that you have to overcome with these star beings, the star thing, and we're not fully conscious. And when you become conscious that you have to this star being that is making you chase it, it actually changes everything, because it seemed like your own body or your own inner ego is going to challenge you and go against you. And this is where now you start having duality within yourself. Even your best ideas, your best intuitions is going to be challenged by yourself. Like, I can't, no, I shouldn't do it. Because the actual star beings don't want you to wake up. They don't want you to get to be the Messiah in you. So it's going to always try to keep you following what the crowd do, what society do, hanging out. All of those things is a product of the stars. They're the aster. Once you awaken to your astral body and you're able to leave, that's when you're able to understand that you have a common enemy, which is also a part of your own system, and it's up to you to challenge it and leave. And if you don't defeat it, it's going to overcome you. Peace, Diablos expert. What's going on? All right. Thanks for checking me out. So these is the things that we first have to learn that actually induces our imagination. Like how the moon has influence on the tide. Can you speak on the effects your diet plays on your ascension, boss man? Okay, that's what's up. Let's do that real quick then. The diet. The dieting is the most important thing, because they're actually feeding us the foods that we are being fed to keep us from ascending. That's why nobody really know about it in America, the Western world, and the Indians is more prone to it. So the basic concept of getting back your God power or unblocking yourself, it's all blockages that make the food, is what it's doing, is blocking us, is to actually first come to the concept that you're a natural organic being that can only eat natural organic foods. So for us, a lot of us feel, eating a salad and all this stuff is the way to compensate for this natural organic way of living, but it's not. What we have to realize is putting like cereal, cornflakes, milk, and I don't want to attack rice and flour, but those two, those block you. It block your DMT from you having DMT exposure. DMT is the most important thing you need to make these experiences happen. Because say you are having your astral stuff taking place, DMP provides the color, the foundation, the dimension, the craziness that they show you in there. Imagine if you could actually put it into conscious state, make it a house, a building, a city, a thing. It's actually the world that it creates for your consciousness to experience. So with the food we're eating, it's beta blockers, and it's actually cell killers. It drains the energy from your cell because the food itself don't have no life in it. So when you're already, your cells is dead and it's trying to regenerate, and you're putting the food in there to give it back substance, and it goes in there and there's no substance, there's dead already. Not only is it killing your cell more, but your cell now suffers. It suffers for that. So we actually become tired after we eat, feel worse after we eat. That's because we eating these foods that have no life in it. So realizing you're organic and you have to eat organic food, it makes eating simple. Like, say if it's in a world of where we living with all this being offered to us, and there's only thing organic is bananas, you have to live off of just bananas. Find ways to make banana pancake, banana this. But the thing is, it's only natural things that's gonna activate you, that your body is gonna respond to and make triggers. You're set to have triggers from food that's in indigenous places all over the world. And so when you deny yourself these and have these processed food, say for instance, anything that's processed through bleaching, it actually take the iron out of it and fiber Taking iron and fiber out your diet leave you constipated. Being constipated leave your body no room to exhaust any type of toxicity, and it floats around in your body and becomes cancerous. So we have to know not to actually eat processed foods. Stay away from things like your cereals. A lot of dairy products is dangerous, especially to melanated people, and try to eat more of an organic diet, meaning I'm not going to worry if it's too GMO-ish, just as long as it's more natural. You understand? Much respect, Enki, new sub here. I appreciate your wisdom and knowledge. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome, Indigo Wolf. And we're going to continue. When we're talking about an organic, regular diet, say, you're going to eat, what would you eat? You'll just get a pot. You will put your basics is your cabbage. I always see cabbage, cauliflower, your broccoli, your okra, your spinaches. These you can mix them up however you would like, but that be your basic foundation of organic eating. Somehow you got to learn to love it and realize that is not tricking you and it's not deceiving you. It's going to help you. Anything else, you could have a bad biochemical reaction where it might not hurt you and you're sustaining yourself off of it, but it's stopping you, blocking you spiritually. It's blocking your third eye from opening. So it's very imperative. I would suggest try to drink a lot of coconut water, find coconuts and get coconut water. We're talking minerals and covering all the mineral categories to provide you with the minerals you need to your body to sustain itself. So sea moss is excellent, spirulina is excellent to covering all the minerals you need to activate you. But if you have a steady diet and always eat the same foods, you only eat the same minerals repeated over and over, and you're missing certain minerals. So, being you can't go all over the world to get these minerals, try to get them in different types of food that has more minerals in it. Your battle axe, try to get those as supplements. Your teas, all teas is perfect. Teas in the morning is the best thing to do. Your diet should consist of not eating before 11 o'clock. You're a sun, a living sun, that when the sun is gone, just like at night, the body turned down, it's cool, it's not as hot. And for you to digest food, the digestive system have to be hot. So in the morning you will have teas. Teas wake up your immune system, it wakes up your cell, and it wakes up the brain neurons. So you will want to just feed natural teas because they're full of iron, zinc, calcium, selenium. That's what you're giving your body first, and your body takes it and digests it first. And I say by 11, if you do want to decide to eat, that would be an optimal time to eat because the body's temperature is warmed up, the digestive system is ready, and now you could go about eating or putting food in there. But in the morning time, it should be more about contemplation. It should be more about you balancing yourself. If you have any exercises after your tea to get your breath going, you always have a routine every morning. Get the in to get prana flowing through you. Once you do that, food shouldn't concern you. If you don't have a routine going, try to get into your astral and meditation. Um, Once you do that, sun staring also too controls your metabolism so that if you're malnutrition and some nutrition, the sun give you it all. You don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. It gives you not just all the nutritions, but it gives you extra for your spiritual and psychic abilities too. So for people who don't have that much money and seek to live a good life, find one or two things that you could afford: cucumber, broccoli, and a cabbage, and munch on those. Let that rotate in your life and use the sun. Don't think about food on anything. You want juice, you could make cucumber juice. Just juice those two. Honey is very important too. We never use sugar, especially white sugar. So keep honey always on deck to sweeten your drinks. It's good to have a spoon of honey. It's a great antioxidant builder. Honey, garlic, and onion. Take them, chop up the onion and garlic fine, and put it in some honey. Let it cover over it, and let it sit in the refrigerator. Take a spoonful every day. It boosts that immune system, and it break through all those cells that's being blocked up with foods. So we have a few steps to take if we're going to take it to just eating, because environment have a lot to do with making the food conducive towards your genetics. So say you do the proper eating, you have to go to the park, you have to go by the lake or the water, go camping. You need natural environment. Take off your shirt so your genetics feed. They exchange electrons and protons with the trees and the plant. So you couldn't be complete and missing something, and that tree might have it for you. And so by you going over there and learning the meditations we're doing, but do your 0 point, the little dots there on a tree. You could take energy from a tree. There's people out here who's energy vampires and don't know it. They could actually not feed off another person. They could feed off of trees. That's mostly rocks. They emanate crystals, water. All of this emanate energies, and this is what we feed off of and go back and forth with. So between the diet of eating organic or natural food that's conducive for the body, because processed and all that is no good, you want to keep interacting with an environment that's natural. Try not to be too much in the car to the house to the job, to the car to the house to the job. That renders you right there no sun, no vitamin D, no B12. Those things is what you're going to be missing. And for a black person, dark skin, or even my complexion, it takes 45 minutes in the sun for you to process vitamin D. So you need to spend some time out in nature now if you want these abilities to come out. And that's the reason they made the urban area and the city purposely like that. No trees around, purposely like that, because they know your kundalini baby with potentials. Potentials of eating natural food could trigger it. It's called a kundalini activation. Potentials of being around forests could activate it. So they put national forests far away from residential areas. So once you get an idea of what you are as an organic man, woman, human being, you will seek out organic interaction, learning that everything is epigenetically connected, meaning you exchanging data, genetic data with trees, grass, everything, and you will want to try to get new trees and grass around you and hold a meds with them, because we don't see it spiritually what trees are. They told us that they're trees, but they're not. They're gods. They have the ability to unlock you and do things for you, help you. So by you interacting with these actually give you back your genetics without you having to go to Africa and go all over the Caribbean seeking these type of energies. So those two work together, balance out your acidic level and your alkaline level. Most foods is acidic, your beans, your rices, your meats, those is all acidic. So if you have an acidic diet, you cannot be able to be alkaline to produce DMT, to see a spark through your pineal gland. So try to eat raw foods as much as you can. Like blending kale and spinach with some okra. That makes a great drink, with some spirulina, keep everything green. Put some honey to your taste. And when you eat these go right into your arteries and start clearing out, get the spiraling going back up your blood. And it also detox you and for if you're a European or of the white nation, what it does is like when you take these, y'all get tans. Y'all think you're tan. Nobody tans. No human being can't tan. The sun can't burn nobody. What you have when you get burnt is toxicity in your skin. That's bad foods on the top layer, epidermis of your skin, that is being burnt off. That looks like a beautiful tan. It's disgusting, but it's really toxicity. If you have good antioxidant, I can't get burned. I don't care what color you is. I be in the sun. Look at me. I'm yellow. And I was putting mad hours in the sun. I don't change for nothing. But some of my friends get burned and everything. But you need to burn out the toxicity out of you. Plus, you have to boost up your antioxidant in your body. So the greatest antioxidant, like I said, is honey, garlic, and onion. A spoonful every day. You go in the sun and it won't make your skin burn. Your eyes won't burn. You won't be tearing as much because it breaks up that toxicity. That's why your tears burn when you look into the sun and your eyes is pouring out, it's pouring out the bad stuff that's in you. That's what you're sweating out. After a while, the sun will feel cool to you, like cool breeze, you know. And then you could set the temperature of how you want the sun. If you want to feel the heat from it, you could feel the heat. If you want to feel the coolness from it, you could feel the coolness. It's up to you. You understand? But the sun never really burned. But that determines and measures how much toxicity is in your body. So that and prana, for us, we don't get too much oxygen in our blood. So I do recommend running. You know, like I was speaking about the alkalinity. Whole nuts is great. Get your walnut is the basic of all nuts, and from there get your flaxseed, your chia seed. Those type of things is great for energy, and without taking Red Bulls and all these extra drinks that is going to kill you. So you will want just natural boosters, and you just be like on organic steroid, which replenishes back the body from it being in a toxified state from eating processed food, your cereal, your eggs, all those stuff got hormones in it. The meat got hormones in it. Arachnid, what is it called? Arachnid something. And this make the chicken all cock diesel and big. Why are people saying there is a artificial sun covering a real sun? You know, you can't listen to people. I want you to come to a new state where what people say don't influence you, because maybe that's for them to see it that way, but for those that's going on the path, it's not about what's externally, because the sun is inside of you. You are the sun. And you're trying to learn the sun. Write your own book of your observation of the sun. Don't say, because I said this, you're saying it too, and everybody's saying it. That renders you unconscious and not worthy to go up to the higher worlds. So there is no what everybody said. It's what you see. What is it to you? I'm going to ask you when you come to heaven or higher worlds, did you touch the fire? And if you say yes, I said, how did it feel? You said hot. I said, okay, go. But if I asked you, did you touch the fire? You said no. They said it was hot and I didn't want to get burned. I'm sending you back to go experience. You need experience. That's how you learn things. And only experience continues this world to evolve. And so for you learning good from bad, you learn experience. And so on that note, foods is the most important thing with the breathing now, because we're talking alkalinity. That's why I brought up the nuts and the actual raw foods. Try to blend most of those. And if you're gonna cook like your cabbage, don't overcook it till it's all soft. You did nothing for yourself more than you're drinking water, cabbage water. Try yeah, you're back. Yeah, Ishash Modi. Got to get to see you back too. Try to just braise your cabbage. Let it still be crispy so that all the nutrients is in there, so you still get the actual blood cleansing and the different nutrients that you need right away. Never get it when it's all soggy and mushy. Don't ever have your stuff. Try to gear yourself towards raw foods more, not cooked foods as much. That will give you the straight chlorophyll you need, everything you need to get your body to its optimal experience. And now breathing is important too. And I want to put you onto a quick exercise, because you do have two rotation between your right side and your left side. Either Pingala, masculine, feminine. A man is a woman and a man, and a woman is a man and a woman. All of this is going the horizontal way. Well, through one nostril, you inhale, and through prana, and through the other nostril you inhale in chi, or you inhale in the sun and you inhale in the moon. It's like one eye is the sun and one eye is the moon. So you will do exercises, because this goes up to this side of the brain and this goes up to this side of the brain, to awaken the brain by breathing through one nose. You will hold them and take in breath in 10 reps, where you just breathe in all the way you can through one nose, hold it, and blow it out through that same nose. You do that 10 times. This will awaken your left hemisphere of your brain and the right hemisphere of your brain. So those is important, and then you will do it through both to alkaline your blood. And when you're going to do it to alkaline your blood, there's a cheat code. The easy cheat code is do a squat. and do those breathing. You know, when you get up, you're gonna feel lightheaded and dizzy. You're alkalined out. You're a battery right now. That's what makes you feel lightheaded and dizzy. If you're doing it and you're just sitting there doing the breathing through the nose and you're starting to feel dizzy, you're being alkaline. You're able to see now with your eyes closed. You should have a light up in you. But now, say you want the light, and maybe this, because this is experimental, and I'm trying to get these, so I need your participation to tell me, hey, this worked for me, it didn't work for me. So then I could target everything more precisely. Because, and from what I'm reading, the actual way you get the inner light that you could shine inside and your DMT explosions going off is actually through the sun, moon, and star. That's, in the alchemy books, and from my experience personally, that's what it was. I was able to see something was going on, but I couldn't make it out. It was all energy and forming. But after sun staring, I had a glare in my eyes from doing long sun staring. It's just a glare when I squint, form an orb, a circle. So if you could squint right now when you see a glare, a circle, you're on your way. You could comment if any of y'all got who sun stare and you get a glare come up, because that's the start of the you could say spotlight to your inner self. You use that to highlight what's inside of you so you can see. So with that sun that give you a gold overlay, can you give us a process to give me aware in the dream world instead of just going along with everything? Can you give us a process to begin to be aware in the dream world? Okay. Yes. Vibe rational. I could do that. Um, you're talking now lucid dreaming. All right, so to get it really, these is just concepts and philosophies. Everything is inside of you psychologically, and it's just up to you to see how it was done, and then you can do it through perception. So the perception for what you're saying is lucid dreaming. You need to just know that you have three states to your sleeping. You first go into, beta state. Some people call it alpha state. They switch it around, depends what part of the world you're in. And this first state is when you're starting to nod your head, when you're starting to doze off, like say you're reading. That's an alpha state of sleeping. That's when spirits attack you. If you was in being sleep paralysis, it was just in that state. You could literally hear what's going on in your house, your room, TV, everything, but you're just not there yet. You just had not out. That's when spirits attack you. After that come beta state. That's your dream state or astral state. So how do you get to stay there without falling into REM? It's like a thin line in between that usually lasts about 15, 20 minutes before you can't withstand it no more, fall into REM, deep sleep. So for you to do this, you would have to actually meditate. Meditation now is going to be your first form of trying. I'm not trying to say it's going to work, but meditation gives you the ability to see yourself in a lucid state, to feel what lucidity feel like, which is actually like half sleep, half awake. Um, is there a delta state higher mind? Yes, there is. There is a delta state higher mind. And that's where you're trying to get to by learning the first stages of it, which is to peep through the window of what your higher self is doing, that delta higher state. You're the lower state or the conscious state. And so for you to peep, this is the problem that you're going to have technically. Technically, the conscious mind is the tricker. The subconscious have to wait for it to go to sleep, for it to do the dream world, and for you to astral project and do everything. Because this side of your mind is always going to be correcting this side to make it perceive it like the European way in English, make it make sense to you. What does it mean? Who is this? What year is it? That's what this going to do. And so they have to put this to sleep always, and for this to work. That's not this going to try to make sense out of this. This don't use sense. It's just symbols. So back here, when you go to sleep, this never sleeps. It's always wait. So it waits for this to drop the wall, and then boom, it shoots to the front of your mind. So now you got to be consciousness. Separate yourself from the body, because the body is going to go to sleep. So in yourself, you would start counting like you're counting sheep or whatever, but in your head. But in your head, while you're doing that, you're going to still fall asleep. But as you dream, especially if it's something scary that just make you, you're going to wake back up still counting the sheeps in your head, bugged out or not, but not participating in the dream no more. This could be you in the room in the dream. But when you're counting in your head, you become the room itself. So you're seeing everything. Like, okay. You're not the participant, but that's because you actually the consciousness now in it. So you will, if you don't move and you're perfectly still, you'll be able to actually just bear witness. Because if your conscious mind catch on to your consciousness waking up, it's gonna wake up too and say, okay, what's this? Oh, what's going on here? And then try to make it come together. And by going, what's going on here, and putting it together, everything in the back conscious mind breaks apart now, and you can't do it because it could have been a parallel world. Most of these worlds back here is upside down. And so for you to do it and see it, you can't have a conscious mind. You just have to be. And so you will see it how it's being shown to you. But if you was to be conscious of it, you'd be like, yo, it's upside down. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how that part of it will work. So to get yourself into a lucid state now, you would do the same way you would start with meditation, but allow yourself, just allow yourself to even fall asleep in that state. But try to do the counting or try to come back and remember. Now, here go another thing that you need to know. When you're meditating and you keep falling asleep in your meditation, that means you're tired and you need some rest. Every time, it could be for 2 days. You said, I slept all day, and you go into meditation, you fall asleep, you still need some rest. Get some rest. Forget about meditating, sleep. When you could stay awake, that's when your mind change after a while. Different frequencies, it spheres. So you will have to be able to weather darkness because you're going through your own darkness. Then it gets to clouds. Then it gets to formation. So it's like a long journey before you're probably going to see anything, depending upon how long your soul been traveling. So that's the beginning stages. The alkalinity of your body is important. The breath, catching the breath. So you do a lot of breathing through the nose. Breathing through the nose is just a healthy thing to do. If you always breathe without being conscious of it, you die quicker because if you breathe to a rhythm, it kills you faster. You have to always offset the rhythm of your breathing. If you're ever conscious of your breathing that you just been breathing all day, catching some air and breathe because it changes and offset and give you back CO2, which is what you need for the body. CO2, not air. When you have more energy, you sleep less. Is this bad for your body long term? Vibe rational. Nah, it's not bad for your body. But how like say meditation work? If you're doing your meditation work, you're gonna be tired as hell. It feel like somebody sucked your energy, like an energy vampire come. So a lot of us, and that was a good question too, Vibes. Let me explain why. We have an ethereal body that we never paid attention to in an astral body. These are two, separate bodies that needs the same substance of energy for it to be active. So it has to take whatever you eat, this energy, to feed those bodies for a while to bring them alive. So how it will work is when you go into meditation, you're gonna feel zapped, drained, but it took your energy and shot it up to your ethereal body, and it's gonna trickle back down to your astral, and you're gonna be rejuvenated. It still come back to you, but this time it take a longer course. It goes up to those bodies first. So every time you meditate and you do feel drained and tired, like you feel like you shouldn't be meditating, you need it the most because that meant that your other bodies was dead. And so now as you keep doing it, you're going to start to bring it to life. How would you bring it to life? Because I'll give you an example of how minds work so you know what I mean. Like for me, if I was concerned, like say about Michael Dillon, I could say, okay, spirit come up and he'll bounce off of me. Boom, he'll stand right here. And I said, go see Michael Dillon. And he'll shoot out. He'll go. I'll wait. And then I'll connect to that spirit. Whatever Michael Dillon is doing, he's going through, I see it. And I watch. That's the spirit come back. And it comes back. I could spit all of them and look at them. Boom, boom, boom. And Menzel just jump up. Doing one dude, another dude come up. And they said, what's going on? And you could make a circle of protection around you. This is real Egyptian science here. But first, you have to be purified. You have all these spirits available to you. So this is what I'm telling you first so you could understand it. You don't have to do it in a superficial way. You got them on your magnetic field ready to jump at your attention, but could you see them? You have to be able to see them. They like predator. You see just thin forms of them, shadows. You have to know how to see shadow beings, all these different frequencies of it to be able to use them. So that's what it's important to learn this. So when they take enough of it and they feed and they're able to sustain themselves, they come off of you to be your mentor. That's who your teacher is, your Buddha. Everybody have a Buddha or a Michael. He comes in front of you. It's not supposed to be like, I guess, meditating how you think it is. No, he pops up like a double jumps in front of you and be like, do this, put your hands like this, make this symbol, do this, and you just feel mad energy like when I had y'all doing the tail earlier, and that's all you're ever gonna feel, no matter what he makes you do. So it's to wake up your Demion, your mentor you. When you have more I just joined wondering if you talked about how you ascended through the crown chakra. Reason I asked, my crown chakra is tingling lately. I want to see these spirits so bad, I can't wait. Diablos, Sepper, and Aisha Asmo. Yes, you, when you're feeling the sensation of the crown chakra, that is a feeling that you will feel. Trust me, and it's not just up here is where the zipper take place. Well, for you to understand, for me, it's a visual journey that, like I said, when I first started the journey, I thought I was in Cyrus and I was on the moon. But as it got a little scary and dark, I noticed every time I breathed, the world will move, the mountains will move, the city will move. And I noticed it was, wait, that's my body. And so it depends now on my emotional state, made the different flash line of our actual world, or I could see mucus and flesh tissue. Then I realized, I'm inside my body, but our body is not what we think it looks like. It's actually like a replica of the world, the universe, with dragons, Leviathan. It's very important to know Leviathan, the first that came with the Lemurians. They brought Leviathan, and they came out of Leviathan. That's why we have the serpent, the python. So you have the turtle, Leviathan, the elephant, the wolf, the hyena. It's dimensions. You go in there, it's going into the earth at a different period of time. It's going into a dimension at a different period of time. It looks flat too, like this pen. You go into it, but once you're in there, you're in this world. That's how it works. So all of this is what's inside of you that you will first want to see. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's scary as fuck, but it's there for you to see. Now the way it works is lucidity in your mind. Your mind have to interpret these. So who wants to see it? I can help you to see it. I know what's the missing link. I just thought about it. You know what you're missing? Clouds. This is written in the Bible for you. And that's how I found it. If you follow my Facebook, clouds. Follow the clouds. Stare at the clouds. They're going to give you perception. You're going to see 7 faces in there, 8 faces in there, 10 faces in that one cloud. Perceptions come. Once perception comes, you can see in other dimensions, other places. It was the cloud beings that came every night. Everyone I made out, they came and visited me and showed me it. And it wasn't no superficial thing that I'm talking about. When I saw it and I recognized it correct, that same person was in the darkness floating around when I closed my eyes, and then came to me, took my hand, and showed me everything. And I'm not talking about no simple thing that you think, oh, you just close your eyes and you see it. I've seen Pazazu in the clouds. Yes, it's really him. I want to see the spirit so bad. I can't wait yet. Diablos Extra, start spotting them in the clouds. Remember in the Bible, that's where it says God comes in the cloud. Wherever he comes, it comes in the cloud. That's real talk. I study scriptures to equate my reality, to make sure I'm not going crazy or it's nothing demonic or satanic. And everything with God comes from the cloud. And so for you want to see these things that I'm telling you about, you have to do the alchemy. You can't see, it's there. You need starlight, moonlight, and sunlight, plus the cloud. That's the water, the mana. Once you feed off of these things, you're going to get these beings that's going to terrorize you, and you defeat them. They already been terrorizing you. They just don't want you to wake up. So now you're conscious of them, and you get pulled into their world of the archon. You have to now prove yourself, and that's to get your soul. So you do see it, and it's a visual. And when I wanted to tell you about what makes you become an empath, is the dragon. When you see the dragon in the clouds, the dragon comes and he eats you. His mouth open, he swallows you. All of a sudden, that's what an empath is. An empath is a person that is swallowed by a dragon. And this is what nobody don't know. That, I can see all the animals the anamorphic animals that they draw the Egyptians is all on us. And I could spot them and I could tell them influences they have on us. So once the dragon swallows you, you become an empath. And that's where you get your empath abilities. And it communicates with you, it teaches you things. It's a magnetic field too. So just you have to be able to understand these and perceive these things because they're real, they're here. The star beings is here. They're actually, don't doubt me when I tell you this. Go and look for them and you will see them. And they'll interact with you. If you believe everything, it will be there. It's very subtle. This is the Emerald Tablet of Thought where he speaks about subtle energy. You understand? Because it's psychic. And once you leave this physical gross body, you're going to be psychic energy. And so that's what you really deal with. Okay, so let me see now. What's the best way to destroy parasitic or violate entities in the spirit world? All right. My first question then would be, how would you know if they're parasitic or not? That's the question. It's like black people was considered parasitic on this earth. That's why eugenics came about. We judge things. I'm a very, very stern person about that. Very stern. I was judged all my life as a black man. I'm not bringing that to the spirit world, man. Gotta be careful, because sometimes it's us that's the parasite, and we don't see it in ourselves. And we put it into other things. It's called a scapegoat. If I teach about energy vampires, you feel it, and I have sympathy for them. Now, when we call it something parasitic, I need evidence so that we could get rid of it. But just calling something negative towards me or bad towards me, parasitic, I need more than a definition like that because I was considered parasitic. Black people's Indians was parasitic. Are they? Now, the way they look, or let's see, let's go. Now, I'm gonna say this. I'm not just gonna leave that question where the parasitic stands and we're being judgmental, which is what we are. But I will say this before we go further. There's vitamins. Entities is vitamins for us. They grow us, spheres. And sometimes we resonate at negative attitudes, emotions, and a human being could resonate as a beast. Jealousy, love, anger, hate, lust. Make them resonate to that vitamin, what you call an entity, come on to them thinking that they're a creature or a tree or a rock, and that's where they're supposed to go. And so the parasitic attack could be brought on by your resonating frequency because God don't make no mistakes and send diseases that is supposed to be for this onto you. That would be parasitic. You understand? Thought forms you bring onto yourself, yes, by your thoughts. You think it, you imagine it, you make it, it comes alive. We don't know how to neutralize it. We send it in the air and it attacks other people. I don't think nobody know how to neutralize a thought form. So it's thought forms just combusted in the air. The truth to it is, when we do like healing, spiritual healing, you're supposed to have a lit candle there to neutralize. It's energy. Could you destroy energy? Let's think about it. Everything is energy. And if we're gonna be superficial and I'm telling you, yeah, you could destroy an entity, I'll be lying to you because how you can't destroy me. You might be able to destroy the flesh, but you can't destroy me. So what makes you think you could destroy an entity? You can't. It's energy. It's displacing it that is the problem. You need to displace the energy. So if you know how to displace the energy, you know where the energy belongs. So if you was to be healing somebody, taking a negative energy off of them, you would have to put it into something else. Or two, you're being negligent in two ways. You're either putting that energy in the air for it to attack somebody else, or that energy came into you and you're wearing it. That's where it's at. You cannot say you destroyed it, you got rid of it, you killed it. That's not true. That's in your head. You can't say you banished it, you what they do with the church, they, in the name of Jesus Christ, whatever you call that stuff, you can't even do that. It's energy. You only could displace it. So when you're gonna do rituals like exorcism or taking negative energy out of somebody, as a healer now, make sure you keep a plant, an animal, or a candle in the room you're in. So when that energy comes from there, it displaces to where it really belongs, which is to those things and not to a human body. And the person who did it more than likely was in a bad emotional state and was resonating as of a beacon of a creature or animal or a plant. That's our regular way of stress, anxiety. That's what it does, and bring these entities onto us that belongs to something else. So that really, I hope that give you a better understanding why I don't really cast judgments on things. I know where things belong. And I don't try to say they're negative to want to hurt nobody or destroy anybody because God made us all here for something. I see synchronicity more than I see separation. All right, the way that we look or flow, they come at you. Good question. I think the psychopaths are the viruses are infected. Yes, psychopaths. Indigo, Wolf, you're 100% right. And that's what we need to focus on, our psychopathic ways and our narcissistic ways. We became very narcissistic and psychopathic, which became succubuses and vampires. Can thought forms be created to do work for you, for protection, to help? Yes, thought forms is everything. That's what I'm telling you. Once you get the power and your will is strong, you just will everything with your thought form because you have many deities and entities at your disposal once you open up your subconscious. So you just have to use imagination and thought form. I was supposed to be reading you from Paracelsus on imagination, so you get a little bit of what thought forms is and how it was used for magic from back in the days, and now how it's still being used by these spirits, the nymphs, the genomes. When we have sex, they have sex too. You're not having sex alone. Entities feed off of your sex energies. There's plenty of entities down there having sex with you. If you can see what's going on down there as a seer, you're not alone when you're fucking. So we have to understand these things, and when we masturbate, we actually is fucking something, whatever you're thinking of. Your imagination is more realer than what you than yourself. You expire. Your thought forms is more real. They stay here forever. So we are having actual sex in the astral when we do these things. So I just wanted you to get a quick understanding. I'm gonna see if I could pull up imagination for you real quick. Let me see what's the next one while I'm looking. Thanks, Enki. I probably manifested those parasites. I gotta nurture myself in this world to convert the energy. Yes, because you're gonna come against a lot of negative energy, and a lot of them is demons because they don't care about the negative energy. They just care about confusing you and making you sick and make sure you come to the dark side. So they put that in you, and what you think is what you believe. A lot of people don't know when a man kill you, and you're scared. What happens is he takes you. Whatever you thought of at that second of your death, that fear is where you're going to. You're supposed to die in peace, knowing you're going to die. Look at all Buddha, all the masters. They know their death. They've seen their death, and they accept their death. If you fight against your death or you died in fear, you go into that which you feared. That's how a lot of people take people's soul. Is this the problem that elites have? They can no longer control their lower self energies beyond repair? That's a fact. That's a fact. And they're out here. Those is the parasites that is being referred to, that you have to learn how to send it back or turn it around. Some of them is out here feeding on us unconsciously. As long as we're not awake and we don't know anything about this. Okay, I found imagination. Let me get into this. Woo. Here we go. I want you to hear this because this is important. Here it goes. Man's astral body may more easily be influenced during sleep than during the waking state. The power to influence persons during their sleep is sometimes used for evil purposes. Some persons, being in love with others and finding their love unrequited, have sometimes used this circumstances to influence those who love they desire by appearing to them in their dreams. They wrote with their own they wrote with their own blood their names upon pieces of new paper and put the slips under their pillows or beds, so that those persons should see the intended lover in their dreams and fall in love with them. Girls used to put their belt ribbons, locks of hair, etc., under the pillow for young men, for those whose love they crave. But very seldom they found the desired result in this manner, because they forgot that faith is necessary to obtain success. This is important. Check this out. A strong faith and a powerful imagination are the two pillars supporting the doors to the temple of magic. That's a fact. Let me tell you again. A strong faith and a powerful imagination are the two pillars supporting the doors to the temple of magic, and without nothing can be accomplished. Imagination is the formative power of man. It is often acts instinctively and without any conscious effort of the will. Man has a visible and an invisible workshop. The visible one is his body. The invisible one is his imagination, or what we call mind. The sun gives light, and the light is not tangible, but its heat may be felt, and its rays are concentrated and may set a house on fire. The imagination is the sun in the soul of man, acting in its own sphere, as the sun of the earth acts as that of its own earth. As the earth acts in that of the earth. Whenever the sun shines, germs planted in the soils grow and vegetation springs up, and the sun of the soul acts in a similar manner and calls the forms of the soul into existence. Visible, tangible forms grow into existence from invisible elements by the power of the sunshine. Invisible vapors are attracted and collected together with visible mist by the power of the sun or the outer world, and the inner son of man performs similar wonders. The great world is only a product of the imagination of the universal mind, and man is a little world of his own that imagines and creates by the power of his imagination. And you should know this because we're living in somebody's imagination. Somebody imagined this. Somebody imagined this shirt, these watch. Everything we got is part of somebody's imagination. Excuse me. If man's imagination is strong enough to penetrate into every corner of his interior world, it will be able to create things in those corners. And whatever man thinks will take form in his soul. But the imagination of nature is like a monkey appraising the actions of man. That which man does is imitated by the monkey, and the pictures are formed. Hold on. In the imagination of man create corresponding images in the mirror of nature. Imagination is like the sun. The sun has a light which is not tangible, but nevertheless can be set a house on fire. Thus the imagination, like a sun in man, act in the place to which its light is directed. Man is mind, but what he thinks. If he thinks he's fire, he becomes fire. If he thinks he's war, then he will be the cause of war. If he all depends merely on that whole of his imagination, because he becomes an entire sun. That he wholly imagines that which he will. The sun acts upon the visible soil of the earth and upon invisible matter in the air. Imagination acts upon the invisible substance of the soul, but the visible earth is formed from the invisible elements of the earth. and the man's physical body is formed by his invisible astral soul. So I'm just giving you a quick definition of why the imagination is so important. But now I'm gonna show you how it involves with a woman and little tricks. So the imagination of women is usually stronger than that of man. They are more passionate, stronger in love and stronger in hate, and their imagination may carry them during their sleep in their astral forms to other places where they may be seen by others who are in the same state. They and that's how we all see each other. So women naturally could astral project. For a man, he have to get in touch with his feminine powers, his feminine side. A woman is already in touch. That's why she runs psychs on man, and men don't get it, and why she seeks a higher development of love and spirituality. That men seek more material because they psychic. Man is the one that has to get in touch with his feminine goddess. Monog- Monogram or polygram. What should we do? What should we be doing? Ooh, that's a good question. I like that one. You don't want my answer. I'm gonna give you that in a minute. Remind me of that. Let me finish this up because I need to just finish it. All right. They are. We just read the part now that the woman, the man, they are more passionate, stronger in love and in hate, and their imagination may carry them during their sleep in their astral form to other places where they may be seen by others who are in the same state. They are then really as those places and will remember what they have seen, although they were there without their physical bodies, for their minds were active at such places, and the mind is the real person, not the body that is asleep. So it's to see your mind. If you could see your mind, you could see the whole world imprinted on your mind, like looking on water. You have to see that dark image as dark water, and there's magnetic imprints coming on there, and you can see anything. Push your mind to see it, and you can see it. If a pregnant woman forms an image in her mind and projects it back by her desires, it will impress itself on the body of the child. This is how children are formed. And this is why I tell you, if a baby looked like the father, it's because somehow the woman was either over in love with him, or the father was just an asshole and was always a problem in the woman's relationship. Because the child only supposed to pick up qualities of the mother, mitochondrial DNA. All information only comes through the mother, nothing to do with the father. But if he has the looks, any type of feature, it was some type of malice done to the woman. Okay. If a pregnant woman forms an image in her mind and projects it by her desires, it will be impressed itself on the body of the child. So that's how the child come out looking like what it's not supposed to, because she has an image in her head, either hate, love, whatever. If, for instance, a woman in her imagination strongly conceives of a snail and then puts her head upon her knee, then will the image of the snail appear upon the knee of the child? He will, altogether unconscious, act in that way, like a master bidding a painter to paint him a snail. Whether the touch of the hand goes there will be the image. If a person dies and seriously desires that another person should die with him, his imagination creates a force that will draw a vehicle from his dead body and give it shape, and this can be projected by the impulse given to it by the thought of the dying person towards that person and cause him to die. Such is especially the case if a woman dies for perpetual fever, and if such a woman wishes that the whole world should die with her. An epidemic may be the consequence of her poisoned imagination. Fear, terror, poison, desire, joy, and envy are six states of the mind which especially rule the imagination, and consequently the world of men. And as the mind of man is the microcosm counterpart of the universal mind, the, the antitypes of these states are also active in the imagination of the world, and the thoughts of man act upon the latter as the latter acts upon him. It is therefore desirable that we should govern our imagination and not allow it to run wild. We should attempt to grasp the spirit by the power of the spirit and not by speculative fancy. So, you see, our imagination is everything. It's the whole magic. It's the whole power. But somebody control your imagination right now. You're not in control of your imagination. That's the world you're living in right now. You're living in the world you created with your imagination. So it can't be used for magic or anything because you're using it to will your life. You need to take that out of it now and put yourself into another state so you could use your imagination to help you and bring things into creation. It says imagination is the beginning of growth of a form, and it guides the process of its growth. The will is the developing power which enables the body to become impregnated by the temperature of the imagination. He who wants to know how a man can unite his power of imagination with the power of the imagination of heaven must know by the process this may be done. A man comes into possession of creative power by uniting his mind with the universal mind. And I'm gonna leave it at that because we could go into it, and it talks about masturbation and spirits that comes up from it, and the whole astral world, what you could do in there using imagination. But I'm pretty sure you get the idea of the power of imagination, and that was really what I wanted to bring to your attention through Paracelsus. He's the master of that stuff. Now, thanks, Enki, and thank you too, Vibes Rational. So we perceive the astral world with our imagination. Well, you perceive the astral world by not imagining. The astral world is imagination. The universal consciousness, that's what it's called. The Akashic mind, that's what it's called. So, by not imagining, you tapping into imagination. Is this the problem the elites have? They can no longer control the lower self. We spoke on that. Monogamy or polygamy. What should it be doing? What should we be doing? All right, let's be honest. When we spoke about the Negroes and we came into the Etruscans, no, the Hottentots, we spoke of different races of the black race that brought about different cultures. These different cultures, you get your monogamy and polygamy from. Now, when you talking about, okay, Diablos expert, you're welcome and thank you for saying thanks too. I appreciate that. So when we talking polygamy, polygamy is the thing because it was always monogamy, and polygamy came when the mixing came from one group of people. The one group of people who practice polygamy, is in all these books written. The Hebrews practiced polygamy. That was their thing, the Jews, to be honest. So nobody else really practiced polygamy. So if you're following that, they're going to say you're following the Hebrew custom. That's not an African custom. You understand? African custom is king, queen. That's African custom. Now, king, queen comes with concubine. We could talk about that. But polygamy is marrying more than one woman, having more than one wife. That's a Hebrew culture. Okay. Now, is polygamy right, wrong? We're not here to judge. Nobody is. I'm just telling you, a culture came up out of a mixed culture. When we talking now, the mixing, we talking the Godhead and the beast, Anglo-Saxon, European, and the indigenous. When these come together, you got a diverse variety that is supposed to make the evolution of souls and also the diversity of root races that led to sub races and kept everything going. It's part of our evolution, positive and negative. Now, in there, you got people that did all these savagery things, and from taking over countries, conquering, to the what we call colonization, the mixing of the blood, and you also got that part to it too. So all of that is part of the system created between God and the gods. It's always the gods. You can't say God and the beast. So all of these is part of the two sheets that we have to play. Um, Now, as you can see, with the king and the queen, our style and how it is in the astral world, just like Lilith is married to Samiel, they keep the astral world going. That's the force of the astral world. It has to be a king and a queen. It's a royal thing. It's the whole God thing. When he came with the bearded men and the Christ and everything, you talking organizing chaos. So king and queen is always needed on every sphere as a positive and negative energy. So you have a crown king and queen of the underworld, of the higher world, of the heaven world. Every world has one. And so with king and queen, it's only one monogamy relationship. But polygamy, like I said, is all products of the beast and the lower self world. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because in Africa, they had concubines, but concubines, it was divided into two parts where you had the inner court, where it's just the king and the queen, and the rich, the elite. Concubines was in the outer courts. They stood on the outer courts, came in just to the king's chamber. You know, king, queen had separate chambers. It wasn't together. And so that's a whole different system. It wasn't polygamy. You understand what I'm saying? Polygamy is another thing, and polygamy has its benefits in some areas that I was seeing. Self-proclaimed elites, LOL, straight up. Polygamy started becoming a claim when you had societies that followed the indigenous way of the inner court, outer courts, and you had men who had a lot of stocks and calves, cows, and so they was rich and could afford to take care of a second woman. So the inner court wife would assume the position of husband and say, husband, let her come into the inner courts, and he will have two wives, but it wouldn't be sexual, it would be financial. He takes care of them to take her out of poverty of being slave. And most people of the outer court, we was in matriarch season, they was actually sacrificed to the trees and to the different harvests. You have sterility problem, so you have fertility gods that they had to give sacrifices to. So anybody who was from the outer courts, they looked to be sacrificed, and they liked it that. They thought that was an honor. But you had inner court people that would come and marry them or bring them to the inner court so they don't have to live that life. So I guess polygamy would be good for them in that way, but in a lower animal state of sexuality and desires, you know, it doesn't hold no weight as far as polygamy. A man could have 3, 4 wives, but I told you the circumstances under which it's financial more and soul wise. Finally got you live. Peace. Yes, Royal Bizza. And now, when we talk in polygamy, you could put a soul family under polygamy. And then you could put twin flame under monogamy. Twin flame is your other half, your queen. That is the only way you could ascend. You came with her and y'all separated with her way. And you need her to go back. Once you become conscious, she become conscious, somehow the link meet, but y'all can't physically meet. You're always going to be distance between y'all, water, something, because it's a psychic power now, and you have to desire them so much that you use your psychic power to connect to them. That's why twin flames is all about. They feel each other, each other's energy. They sense it. They could do astral projection, astral sex, any little thing she knows, he knows before she even could say it. So these is actually the two that came down together, headed back up, and they're gonna argue and fight more than anything because it's the last round of going up to the spiritual world, and they have to uncloak the last parts of whatever they believe, and so they're gonna be hard on each other, like, yo, stop all this marriage, fuck marriage, just be with me. Why we have to get married? And I'm gonna have a wedding. And that's the belief system, and they have to cut that in because you're gonna believe that if you take it up to the spiritual world. And once you cross over, you're not gonna be able to grasp the spiritual world. You're gonna want to hang on to the physical world, and you become a demon, and you can't come back. You have people in between to stop you, and you might lose your loved one as the man could become spiritual and sin, but his woman gonna want material ways still. So they have to leave all material aspect of the way and just love each other unconditionally, just them two, without no government paperwork, without nobody's signature, because they're gonna leave together. You understand? Now, could an animal be your twin flame? Yes, unfortunately, yes, Vibes Rational, and 99.9% of the time, that's the case. Yes. And you have to convert it, unfortunately, Vibes. It's your job as the twin flame. It's a fight. It's not about love and hurdy cuddly. It's about war. You believe it or not, your soulmate is your comforter. Your soulmates. Your twin flame is Hancock. Hancock is about twin flame. If you want to know what twin flame is, watch Hancock. The white girl that's married to the other guy, that's how twin flame works. Your twin flame more than likely gonna be married to somebody. It's gonna be in another relationship. That's how it works. Straight like that. Finally got your line. Could I am a twin flame. I'm on a twin flame journey. Oh yeah, Aisha Asmoni. That's what's up. I'm glad to hear that. Congratulations. I hope it worked out for you. I've been told I'm too. Indigo Wolf. Us. Everybody has their twin flame, but it's just so hard, man. I'm telling you, you want to get away from them. I'm scared of them things because it's a dangerous act if you're not prepared to a person tell you about yourself, your good ways, everything that you hide, everything that you don't want to confront. They're gonna bring it to you. They feel everything. If you even think sexual thoughts, they see it. So she or he be laughing. I can see everything you're doing. Really? Ha, I got powers now. Yo, it's the craziest thing in the world, but it's real. I swear to God. Heard a voice once in my sleep, woke me up, still don't know who it was. Indigo, oh, yeah, it happens. It's good. It's the start of waking up. You see, when you start to hear the voices, it's kind of you don't want to hear voices. If you could be a seer, go to be a seer. Voice hearing, I couldn't take it. Strange experiences, but pleasant so far, at least for me. Yes, they should be scary, but at least you're not gonna die, and it just save you from mental issues and going to the mental hospital because a lot of us are healers. You know, when we're looking at it from these 8 people that's here, that's probably normal. You got people that's diagnosed schizophrenic, autism. Those is actually the ones. Those is hybrids, high healers, and they're just stuck in it. You understand? The sparks fly so much in this that situation when one half doesn't understand yet who. Yes, that's how it is, and it's always gonna be sparks flying until purification come and y'all get rid of expectations. It's y'all is the last round before y'all go into the spiritual world, like I said. So y'all is just there to perfect each other and take out superficialness and just be true. Truth is the way for y'all, but y'all is already connected feeling wise. Sex is gonna be unbelievable. They'll ascend you. Everything will be good. It's just that we're gonna have to fix our ferocious ways and our deceptive ways and how we believe from the system raising us of our white picket fence and getting married. The soul journey of the twin flame is just about uniting and helping them to see their true self. They might leave you. They could be married to somebody else for a minute and come back. All of that is part of twin flames because that's unconditional love, and you have to learn this last stage. It's the highest stage. You understand? And so this makes it make you now love with condition is an evil thing because say that person have to grow and you only did them temporarily or they made a mistake or needed you for a point in their life, you telling them they can't meet nobody, can't have no more experiences, can't do nothing. And if they do decide they found somebody better than you or they found somebody they like, you hate them, fuck them, that's not good. You're hindering that person's growth. You're supposed to love them, meaning whatever they happy would make you happy. You're there to make them happy, not make yourself happy or have them as a security blanket. That's capturing a soul. So we have to redefine that so it makes understanding and not be superficial or just a security blanket. And that's how we get caught in these soul traps with demons or the beasts that pretend to be, the sheep's and wolf clothing. And a lot of us is dedicated lambs. That's good, children of God, and get caught up with the beast while the beast is doing us dirty. So you have to get this and understand this. Can we cut cords with the twin? No, you can't cut cords with the twin. You could try. It don't work. Twin is permanent. I keep it that simple. They leave though. They leave for many times. Y'all gonna break up over and over and over again, over and over and over again, because ego is involved here. This is the last destruction of the ego. Is through the twin. They're gonna break your ego, but they can't go. Unfortunately, they'll be calling you with the other husband, the other boyfriend, coming to dinner and everything, and they're gonna leave him, and y'all still gonna be fucking, and y'all still gonna be seeing each other. And that person was just in the picture for a second. I don't care if they married them, had kids with them. Oh, and if they do have kids with them, even though they're the biological parent, you're still the actual parent. Because that's the relationship God put together. That's the saying, when God puts something together, nobody will break it up. So even though the child have that biology, the impression is still of your impression. Remember, we just read about what's in the mind of the woman, what impresses on the child. So now you understand how that comes to the term when God puts something together, it cannot be taken apart because the woman has the impression of it inside of her, and she puts that in the child. So it could not. It don't mean biologically it's his. It's the one that's leave the impression. That's the one. She knows who it is, even though they a lot of time it's be their lover that looks like the child look like their last lover, even though the biological is some their new friend or whatever. In that case, he's just a sperm donor. That's it. That soul was put in there prior to that. The child was already there. They had that astral baby. It just needed a seed. Okay. Royal Bitzer, that's right. And yes, we are both married to each other. That's a fact, and it's a spiritual marriage. It's an umbilical cord marriage, and you will see them again. Trust me. It's twin flame is one soul. Remember, y'all is half and half. You understand? So you can eventually be back one, but you have a soul family now. Everything you created on your journey on the female side becomes part of that one same family. And that one, what he created, becomes a triangle, the Trinity, and with y'all going up to the spiritual world and then coming back down to the material world in two worlds to cultivate a genetic line, a higher line. So that's how it works. So, but up here in the spiritual world, everybody needs up. One big soul, spiritual family. You know, I hope that give y'all a great understanding. Um, we went around the world. That's nice. So let's do a quick night meditation to end this off so we get to understand the spiritual world. I wanted to give you visuals so that we see that it's not just about. Thank you, Aisha. Asmodi, I really appreciate you too. And I want you to see what it's like if you was to be in the spiritual world, Cyrus, space, and what you're going to be encountering. So, I do these parts as meditations because I deal with them and I love them. And so I'm offering them to you so you could see the world from how it's going to be seen when you're on the other side, from the soul side. Let me turn off these lights so far, and I'm dimming it down to more of a spiritual way it would look, so you would see how beings look. Now, with these darker looks, we're more concentrating in our empathism on lights, the reflective light. Because if you was in the astral world that was totally dark, the only thing you would be able to navigate you from point A to point B is whatever light source you see, which in this instance will be this chain if you see the reflectiveness of this chain. So when you're in the astral, this is what you will see if there's anything, and that's what you're gunning for. Say if it was my eyes or whatever the case may be, you see one of these here. Let's get something up here that we could all interact with. All right, let's say this little light's right here that's flashing. All right, you would stare in the middle of the one that's flashing. Let's stare into the middle of it. And you will get some type of orb that will come up. And it's just like a pinkish color, burgundy color. Once you're able to pull it up, it's like a matrix pattern. And you see in the dark. It's not really dark. If you see in like a purplish, pinkish, bloodish color in the dark, that's the start. And the more you focus, you interact with these lights. I can see y'all interacting with it or making some type of, you could say conscious signals come from it. And so these is what you will have to learn to see and travel through. Eventually your soul will shoot through these light sources and go into these lights. You get used to this because this is the other world where you come from. This is dark to your eyes, but it's all light to your soul. It's a beautiful world and your soul sees in it. So by getting to understand these, you will now adapt your eyes to seeing half beings. You will see like how I look in mostly your eyes or whatever the case may be. And so you don't be afraid of images. Images is what got us into the situation where we judge everything by an image. And to see your soul and to respect your soul is to learn there's another life. And you will see stuff like this and you would be afraid. You would run, oh, this is evil, when there's nothing evil about it. You will see this is still you. This is just me. It's nothing scary. But as you dim, you see who you truly are. You're also a dark shadow being. And by you staring into those things, the light fixtures, the lights, as an empath, it will bring back your memory. And most importantly, connect your DNA. So, like a lot of times, you will see my eyes are lit up. They'll light up to certain lights, and that's because of all the light that I put inside myself. You could project your own light. And so you will do that by actually spending time in darkness. Try to see the infrared, the magenta spectrum, and the net that I call the matrix of yourself. Now, there's a simple test here that you could do. I want to see if you can make this light brighter. By staring at one of those bright lights, try to make it brighter. It will get brighter if you can do it. Everybody stare at it. See what happens. Tell me if you think it got brighter to you. And look at it, it's getting bright already. Look at y'all. And my hands is up. You see? God damn. Y'all doing your thing. So this is the first test right there. You could stare at something and make the lights come on and make it brighter. You're on your way. And you could do it actually with your regular fluorescent house light, them little lights. The trick to those is that you cut them off. Stare at the light bulb already. Say you're staring at those lights, these condensing lights. Let me just pass it down so you see what I'm talking about. These little funny lights right here. Y'all know them. Like if you stare at it while it's on and then hit the light switch and stare at it hard while it's off, it will flicker back on for a few minutes. You can hold it, flicker it back on, and try to learn that one. These is giving you magnetic cryptochromes. Make the cryptochromes, the things that could align you with magnetic north, is coming into place right in here. And once you do that, it's the beginning of getting your DMT, everything in order. So practice those exercises, and those help you project. You're trying to project. All right? So I just wanted to let you know that, and we're going to pick this up tomorrow. We're going to discuss a few other things. I got a lot to talk about. We'll be here talking forever. So, thank you for tuning in and giving me some love. Appreciate y'all time. You hear? All right. Thank you. I love that Royal Bizza Wisdom family. Blessings, more to come.